You are on the rant couch where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Cotton Candy Flame. And this is the epic conclusion of the Teen Titans saga. You thought it had already concluded, but there was more. Cotton Candy Flame says, by the way, no, I didn't want you to rag on the Terra arc. It's one of my favorite parts of one of my favorite shows. The purpose of all this was so you could get good context for Terra's character, so you could then review Things Change. Things Change is some of the most baffling writing decisions I have ever seen. Pay attention to the ice cubes. That being said, I don't know how well your rant is going to turn out. I know you're a very good analyst, but I don't think you ever really understood Terra's character. Let's just see where this goes. Also, Terra's powers triggered a volcano that was going to destroy the city if she didn't sacrifice herself, which I had said I had not exactly understood what was going on at the end of the previous Terra episode. All the action had kind of made my mind go blank. So, I watched this episode, and this is the final episode of Teen Titans. I had never made it this far in the show before. I had seen up through, I think, most of Season 3, never saw Seasons 4 or 5, really, and I never knew that there was a conclusion to the Terra arc. I didn't know she came back finally into the show. And this episode is interesting, particularly in what it's obviously trying to do as the final episode of Teen Titans. Because, what more appropriate way to leave behind a show about being a teen than with this sort of graduation into adulthood, not necessarily handled by way of like a coming of age or anything like that, but with the just realization of how things change and things have to be left behind. So like the whole early part of the episode is about the Titans coming back to their hometown after having been out somewhere else and realizing that all kinds of stuff that they used to be there is gone, that the world has changed in ways and it can't go back to the way it was. And so throughout the episode we find out Tara's back. She looks really fucking cute in her school uniform with the like sort of dark circles under her eyes, probably the best Tara look yet. But she doesn't seem to remember Beast Boy or the Teen Titans or anything. So Beast Boy starts trying, he starts orbiting her, basically trying to convince her to remember, trying to tell her about how things used to be. And she's just like, look, none of that shit happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever you remember as being the case is not the case. Things have changed and you're not going to get your old life back, essentially. And that's it. That's the whole episode, is Beast Boy following Tara around, trying to get her to remember the past, and her not remembering it. There is some weird stuff. Like, there's a part where Beast Boy gets attacked by one of Slade's, like, robot selves, who's, like, trying to tell him, like, hey, you should leave Tara alone, I guess. I don't know what the deal with that was. I don't know if that was setting up for something. I don't know why there was a Slade robot. It was not explained in any more depth. So that was weird. I don't know if that's what you would call the baffling writing decisions. I mean, Cotton Candy Flame here says pay attention to the ice cubes. So there's this part where Tara and Beast Boy are having a conversation, and like it shows like, the ice in the glass is sort of like symbolically representing her emotions of like, it shows it like moving when she's getting like, conflicted. She knocks over the glass when she's angry and you see the ice. But then when she decides to go with Beast Boy to Titan's Tower, then it shows the ice melted. So it's like, ooh, maybe he's getting to her. Maybe he's melting the ice around her heart or whatever. It's just some like really basic, goofy symbolism. There's another part where they're at the tower and like Beast Boy says something that puts distance between them, and it shows their icons sort of like move away from each other. Like it's like the screen is all black except for just their faces, and they kind of move away. Again, just cheesy symbolism to show you what the characters are feeling visually, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like a little heavy-handed. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what happens in this episode, it really is just all build up to the ending scene of Tara just telling Beast Boy like fuck off, and him having to fuck off and go back to hang out with the team. I mean, the rest of the team just fucking fights this, another generic bad guy the whole way through. I mean, this one's a little more interesting than some of the ones we saw before in that, like, whatever it's sort of touching, it takes on the properties of, such as concrete or water. Not that much interesting stuff is done with it, but, it's a cool gimmick, I guess. But, like, yeah, it's just the Titans fighting that guy while Beast Boy tries to bring Terra back to his side. It is never revealed whether or not Terra really does remember everything. It's equally possible that she legitimately doesn't remember and is just like confused and upset. And it's also possible that she is just lying, that she just doesn't want to, she doesn't want to rejoin the Teen Titans, and she's very adamantly trying to make sure that, she is not approached. She's just making sure that he doesn't. Although, if that really was the case, I don't even think she would bother going with him in the first place. So, like, it's hard for me to imagine that she does have the memories, because if so, she would have just turned him down right from the get-go and not bothered hanging out with him at all, or there would have been more of a glimmer of her, like, remembrance of her, warming up to it. But it really seems like she more takes it as she's intrigued by this guy who is, telling her he knows her, and he seems funny, and, like, maybe he's just trying to flirt with her in a weird way. But the more she learns about his obsession with her, the, like, kind of creepier it seems to get for her. So yeah, it really is not portrayed as though she knows who he is at all, So, like, I don't know if maybe she forced those memories away, if the idea is meant to be that, like, because that seems to be what Slade is implying, like, she doesn't want to remember you. And because he says that, Beast Boy kind of, like, is trying to convince her to remember him, and she's just like, I don't. Like, it's not, I don't know who you are. I am not interested. I am not a Teen Titan. Stop it, and he just kind of has to face that and leave. So I thought that was, like, message-wise, I thought it was an interesting episode. I think it's a good kind of lesson, I guess, to have at the end of the show. Like, hey, things change, and you can't always expect things to go back to the way they were, even with other people. As for what it does to Terra's characterization, I mean, it's kind of a hard split. You just gotta kind of accept that Terra's arc is gone, really. I don't know if this is just because maybe the showrunners had realized, like, hey, we have no more episodes left. We want to wrap up Terra. We don't want to leave her a stone statue forever, but, like, how can we meaningfully create the idea that she doesn't just rejoin the team, that she goes off on her own to do her own thing, and the team is left to their own adventures. So maybe that's what they were going for. It's hard to say. Personally, having watched Terra's arc unfold, I feel like this is, if anything, a pretty good ending for her, just because, like, Terra's whole problem was that she couldn't control her powers completely, and she was very, like, sort of ashamed of herself, afraid of herself. She wanted to run away. She didn't think she was good enough. And then when the team sort of allowed her on, and, like, she was already, I believe by that point, yeah, she's already working for Slade. Like, Slade tells her he's going to help her with her powers, so when she reveals to Beast Boy that she's working for Slade, he's like, oh, fuck you. And she's like, oh, fuck me? Well, fuck you then. And then, they have a big fight and everything. But, like, Terra's emotions were always out of control. Her powers were always, even when she did get full control over the powers, like, it's her personality that has the real problems, more so than the powers. So it's like, she probably isn't somebody who should just rejoin the team. I mean, maybe we want to see her get healed with them and, like, eventually become somebody who could be on the team. But, like, I don't know. The idea of, like, her just kind of going off to be a normal person from now on, I thought was a mature way to end that arc. But it is a weird and unsatisfying episode. It does have, like, again, the whole Slade robot thing. I don't know what the fuck the justification for that was. The other Titans don't really do anything. Most of it is just a repetitive series of watching Beast Boy try to tell Terra the same thing and her telling him the same response. So, it's not really an entertaining episode. But, like, generally, I'd say the biggest problems I have with it are the same problems I had with every other episode of the Terra arc. It's, most of it is fighting, or repetitive. The characters get over-emotional at each other and jump to conclusions and make assumptions about each other's, state of mind. There's a part where Beast Boy, like, flips on the other Titans. He's like, oh, maybe you don't care about her, but I do, so I'm going to go find her. And it's like, nobody said we didn't care about her, Beast Boy. Calm the fuck down. But, like, it's that teen element of the show, that very, like, leaning in on, oh, all these characters are, like, they're prone to those kinds of judgments. They're prone to, you know, to making those kinds of like irrational statements and getting all emotional and running off on their own. And it's just annoying because it just allows. It's like, yes, I understand that the characters are supposed to be teens and they're supposed to be flawed, but it's like none of the drama would even be possible if not for the fact that these characters are stupid, that they make stupid decisions. And I don't find that like interesting or fun to watch necessarily. It's just like, oh, these fucking dumbass teenagers, running off on their own. But overall, I can't say. I mean, revisiting this whole arc has just made me realize that I probably would not enjoy Teen Titans. Like, if I went back to watch it, I don't think I'd get much out of it. This episode at least had Tara looking cute in her fucking school uniform, but other than that, there was not much that grabbed me. So, yeah, I'm sorry that this is the way that your giant Teen Titans escapade went down. That you wanted me to all you wanted was for me to eventually shit on this episode, but instead I shit on every episode and was not even that hard on this episode comparatively, just because like I mean, I don't really understand why, for instance, the ice cubes you considered such a baffling writing decision, or what exactly everybody hates about this episode. I don't know what people love about Tara and then don't love about this, other than the fact that she's completely, basically, not there as a character. She's just someone else essentially, and the reasons for that are never specified. So I can see why that would be annoying, but I don't know. I guess as somebody who wasn't that invested, it's hard for me to care. That's all.